Hello everyone, thank you for joining me in my channel. My name is Anya and this is my baby Ariel. In today's video I wanted to chit chat with you and tell you about how I got pregnant at the age of 38 after over 10 years of infertility. When I was trying to get pregnant, I was searching and looking for videos on YouTube all over the place, and I liked watching other women sharing their stories, so I decided to share mine. I hope you'll find it interesting and maybe helpful. So yeah, I will start from the beginning, a little bit of history and background about myself, and we'll continue from there. So just a quick recap. I got married when I was 28 years old. Back then we weren't considering having children, so we took it very lightly and kind of in the mindset of if that's gonna happen naturally, it will happen. I wasn't on any contraception medication, so you know, like any other young couple, we wanted to kind of travel more, to have some fun as a new married couple. Weren't thinking about having children at that point. A little bit later in life, when I turned 32 years old, we decided to move to a different country. We moved to Canada. And as you imagine, as a new immigrant, it's very difficult to start family right away. We were trying to find jobs, Yes, I know. It's gonna be a very entertaining video. I tried to make this video before without the baby, but it's very difficult to find enough time. I guess you can understand. Anyway, where was I? So we came to Canada. We tried to find a job, to have some stable income, find a nice neighborhood to live in. So having children wasn't, again, our first priority, but our mindset hasn't changed. We still said, like, if it's gonna happen, then if it's gonna happen, we will be very happy about it. But if it's not, we're still young, we have time, and nothing really rushes us. The opposite, we are trying to take our time and, you know, find ourselves in the new country. All right. So from there, when I was 35, then you start thinking about, okay, you know, it's like I'm getting to the threshold of when is it considered to be easier to get pregnant. All the books always say that it's better to get pregnant before 35. I know. Here you go. Maybe it will give us some peace for a few minutes. So yeah, back then I just started my new job. I worked in a financial firm. Finally had some, you know, like we started to build our lives. My husband found a job, so things seem to be stable enough to consider family more seriously. So we decided to try, actively try when I was 35 years old. But even then, we didn't take it too seriously. We still were just open-minded. I downloaded an app just to track my ovulation. Even I wasn't testing any ovulation or anything, just tracking it to see when are the ovulation window, so I can know approximately, you know, when I can get pregnant. Well, my period wasn't the regular 28 days a month. It was kind of fluctuating between 26 to 25, sometimes even 24. I knew that it might be a little bit off and can be a reason for me not getting pregnant, but I never went to actually check if that's okay or not, and decided to leave it to fate again, just track my ovulation. So the time passed by, obviously nothing happened. My friends around me who were approximately my age, most of them were younger, were getting pregnant, and I felt a little bit, you know, jealous, sometimes even kind of felt this small punch in the gut every time I talk to somebody and like, oh, I'm pregnant. Sometimes it's like with the second or third child, and I'm like, oh, and I always kind of put myself in a position that I'm not even sure I want children, and probably, you know, you suffer having children and you just don't want to talk about it because it's like it's a taboo. And I was looking for all the reasons why not to, because I had the thought of on my mind that maybe I'm not gonna have one, and it's a possibility because nothing happened for the past 8 years. So why would something happen right now? Now I'm older and the chances are slimmer for that to happen. So I was kind of even, you know, kind of aggressive about it when people ask me, especially my family, because my family are far away and they don't know exactly what's going on with us. So every time we were talking, they were like, oh, so how about children? You said that maybe after you move to Canada, you will have children, you know, like, don't you want to have your own family? So deep inside, my answer to those questions was always like, yeah, of course I do, and we try and everything. But what I was saying is the completely opposite of like, I don't know, we don't even know if we want children, and there are so many reasons why not to, and it's just the two of us here, and who's gonna help us, and it's just gonna make you suffer more because you will have grandchild that you cannot see every day. Anyways, I had all the right reasons to tell myself the story of why maybe it's better for me not to have a child. So, okay, yes, but saying that, we still weren't worrying too much. We still said, okay, 35, that's fine, we are young, we eat healthy, we exercise, I don't see a problem. Why would something like that happen to us? Like, why wouldn't we have a child? We just need more time. Yeah, so my Suda technique doesn't work very well. I hope you still can hear me, and Ariel will give us a little bit more time. So when I turned 37, and obviously nothing happened till then, I said, okay, maybe it's time to go and have a checkup to see, at least to know if there is a problem, or maybe one of us has, you know, some problem that we won't be able to conceive. At least we're not gonna fool ourselves, or we'll see what are our options. From the beginning, we knew that we are not going to any invasive procedures to get pregnant. Arielchik, wait. I know. It's not fun. It's not fun to be on Mommy's video. I know. Oh my goodness, I don't know. I hope we'll be able to finish it. Anyways, so yeah, as I was saying, we wanted to do some checkups to check myself and my husband, just the basic ones. And from the beginning, we knew that IVF or any other invasive procedures, hormonal procedures, are not for us. And if we've been told that no matter what, like that this is our only option, most probably we would have been giving up on having children. Although again, I wasn't in the position, and I don't know what would be my actions eventually, but the thought back then was that no, we're not gonna do any invasive procedures. Alright, my friends, give me a second. We brought some food. Hopefully it's gonna help us to have a few minutes. I know. We're gonna eat now. No, Bublik. Okay, that's it. Anyways, yeah, so where was I? So we decided to go to have some checkups. More correctly, I decided, and my husband was opposed to it. He said we don't need any checkups. Obviously, he's a man, he doesn't really want to know if he has any problem, but I said we have to do it because otherwise we don't know what we need to be focusing on. So I went to my family doctor, and I was surprised that she referred us to fertility clinic, because where I come from in Israel, you don't go to fertility clinic to do the basic checkups. You can do it, you know, through your GP. And for me, to be referred to fertility clinic is kind of already puts you in a position that you have a problem. And in my mind, in our minds, was always like that the fertility clinic will do anything for you to go to IVF, because they are private clinics and this is what they are, you know, what they are there for. So we kind of were reluctant if you want to go, even because we said no matter what they're gonna tell us to do IVF, and we know we don't want to go this path. Anyways, so but we didn't have any other choice, and as I said, we decided that we're gonna do only the basic ones. The basic ones are covered by the OHIP, which is the Canadian health insurance. But besides the one test, the Valerian hormone testing, which says how much egg reserve I have. This one wasn't covered, but it's important enough to know, so we paid for this one. We did the checkups. Everything came back normal. The only thing that was abnormal was my thyroid levels, where my thyroid level was lower. Like my thyroid means that it wasn't functioning as it should, and I was told that that can prevent from me to get pregnant. It can cause the infertility issue. So they gave me thyroid medications, and when they did it, I was completely sure that from now on we're gonna try. It will take a few months, and for sure everything gonna be okay. So we put on hold all the other fertility treatments. I said we're gonna try with those thyroid medications, and I'm sure everything gonna be fine. We tried for another 2 months and nothing happened. So I went back to the fertility clinic, and their suggestion was to go on fertility drugs, to try 2 to 3 cycles on fertility drugs. And I was prescribed Clomid. Sorry, not Clomid. I was prescribed letrozole, which is different from Clomid in a sense of it has less chances of have multiple embryos, so less chances to have twins or triplets. And I went on letrozole. First cycle failed. I didn't get pregnant, and I was kind of very concerned about it, because I said, well, if everything is fine and even with medication I can't get pregnant, that sounds weird to me. This is when I really started to worry. So we went for another letrozole cycle, which also failed, and it made me feel even worse. Back then, even one of my friends got pregnant, and I was she was a little bit younger than me, but I was still oh my goodness, what's going on? Why everyone around me can get pregnant and I can't? And I'm doing the right things and all the checkups for it to happen. So we went on the 3rd cycle of letrozole, and it also didn't work out. Usually they don't suggest more than 3 cycles, so the natural next step was IUI. IUI is the insemination process, which I'm sure whoever going through any infertility journey knows what it is, but it's not as invasive as IVF, or like expensive, or full of hormones. So IUI was the next step, and I was very reluctant about it. I said, I'm not sure I want to do it. In general, I'm against any procedures. I don't know. For me, everything that it's over just taking some medication is pretty scary, and something that I'm trying to avoid at all costs. So I said, okay, I need to think about that. I don't know if I want to continue with IUI, although it's pretty kind of simple procedure, nothing into it. But back then, what happened is that COVID came to our lives, and everything started to shut down, and our fertility clinic also closed. And I received an email saying that they are stopping all fertility treatments for a few months. I assume it was back then. So it's kind of was my answer to my my questions. Shouldn't I go with that? Because even if my decision was I want to, I won't be able to do it. So what I did, I went and bought the body basal thermometer, which to track your ovulation better. my GP suggested to use it to see when my temperature is going up a little bit. And I bought the ovulation kit to test and see when exactly I ovulate. It's also something I was using while I was on letrozole, so I already knew how to use it and said, okay, maybe I'll try to track it myself. So that was the beginning of our real journey, because from that point on, we said, okay, it is time to take some measures into our own hands and to try and figure out where we go from here. So after COVID hit, I switched to work from home. My husband, he worked in sales, so the stores were kind of closing, and his working hours were reduced drastically. And back then we lived in Toronto, which is a very expensive, very vibrant city. And after COVID came, everything was kind of shutting down, and it became a little bit depressive. We kind of started to feel somewhat, suffocating in a big city where everything is concrete and buildings. We had constructions all around us, and we got sick of it. So we were thinking, okay, what should we do to kind of escape from it? And our idea was we lived in Toronto for a few years. Now it's time to move on, and we decided back then to move to Vancouver, British Columbia. So in 2 weeks we just packed everything, sold everything, took our dog, and drove all the way from Toronto to Vancouver. We stopped the communication with our fertility clinic. Even if I were to go and do the IUI procedures, it's not going to be with them anymore. So yeah, we packed, we moved. I emailed them saying we moved away, and I would appreciate if you can send me all the medical records you have about my fertility journey. I was a little bit upset when they asked for $50 for that. I said, why would I pay $50? It's just my records, and I want to continue and maybe have treatments in a fertility clinic in BC. They said, well, it's only, if it's for you, it's $50, or if another physician or clinic would request it from us, then we can send it for free. So I found a physician that will request it from them, and then they will email it to me, so I will have it in my records in case I want to know what's going on, or I want to have a second opinion. Anyways, it was some nonsensical procedure that I had to go through. Found a new GP in BC, told him the story, and obviously he referred me to a different fertility clinic. So after moving to BC, our lives changed a little bit. Our perception about things changed, and one of the things that I did is I was listening to an audiobook about how to get pregnant naturally. It was a doctor who worked in fertility clinics, and he was talking about how the IVF industry works and how so many couples who struggle with fertility problems go for IVF, although they could have fixed the problem, or at least, make it better in other natural ways, and how we don't really know how to do it or what is the problem. So, sorry, I think we finished the bottle. That's it. You want more? You want more? Okay. Yes, so what I was saying is that I was listening to this book, and this doctor was talking about giving some case studies of couples who had troubles, especially with unexplained infertility like ours, which I forgot to mention that ours was labeled as unexplained because there was no real problem. In natural ways, just with the diet or with some acupuncture exercises. Anyways, a lot of other options that you can try before you decide to go to IVF. And that's kind of resonated with me, and I said, all right, that makes sense to me. I was already 37 and a half years old back then, and I said, I still have a little bit of time to try and to try the methods, to open my mind to other ideas that might help me to get pregnant naturally. My husband at this time was going through his own transformation, and he was, I assume, I'd say, my biggest support person in this journey, in a way, in a mental way. He was telling me that I need to open myself up to this opportunity. I'm literally close to for this to happen, because like I said at the beginning, I was telling stories to myself all the time that what if it's not going to happen, and why is that okay? That maybe I don't even want children. Do I even see myself as a mother? And it was very hard for me to see myself as a mother. Even when I was talking to my parents, my mom was always kind of pushing me, yeah, you need to have children, you'll see, it will transform your life, it's the most beautiful thing in the world. And my dad was always like, to tell you the truth, I don't really see you as a mother. I cannot imagine you being a mother, because I was also always acting very immature and don't really want to take responsibility for anything. So he said, like, I don't see you as a mother. And in some way it hurt me, because they didn't know that I do want to have children, because I was all I was saying that I don't want to, and only if it's gonna happen, then I'll be okay with that. But on the other hand, it kind of gave me the reassurance of that, oh, okay, so it is what it is. I mean, I'm not the only one who's saying that. Even my dad saying like that he doesn't see me in this role. So I don't know. It was a weird situation. That on one way I knew that's what I want, and I was kind of sad that it doesn't happen every month, and I was obsessed with those. Charting of the basal temperature and checking my ovulation and waiting every month. But on the other hand, I was like, oh, okay, some other people don't even expect me to be a mother or don't see me as a mother. So my husband was always telling me, like, you need to let it go, because if you're not gonna open up to it, you're not gonna mentally open your mind to this idea that you can be a mother and you deserve to be a mother, and talk to yourself as you are, and imagine how is it to be, how you see yourself, how you see your child, and like, who do you want your child to be, then it's never gonna happen. So this actually was the hardest work that I had to do on myself, is to see myself as a mother, see myself as someone who can. Sorry if you hear some cars passing by. We live right by the road, and it can be loud. Anyway, so I started to meditate. It didn't go very well. I'm not very good in meditation. No, I was trying more to talk to myself and give myself the permission of let go of my ego that's saying that I'm not vulnerable and I don't get hurt by getting my period every month, and I don't get hurt by people saying, oh, that's fine, you don't even seem that you can be a mother. And to open the other side of me, the side of me that want the child, and why do I want the child. So I took this mission to spiritually open my mind and my heart and my womb to this, I don't even know how to say it, like, to this option of receiving the idea, to kind of implement. It's so hard to really understand and give my body the permission to work on conceiving a child. I hope that makes sense, because if you don't, if in your mind you're not sure, or you are very closed-minded thinking that only external forces can fix whatever is going on with you, then this is how it's going to be. I mean, our bodies, they know what to do. Unless you really have some medical issue, then you definitely need some help, or you can benefit from some help, right? But if you don't, and you trying to understand what's going on, then opening your mind, if the opportunity to those thoughts to come in, everything in your body will realign to that. You need to tell your body, like, I'm ready now. Right now is the time. Anyways, I don't want to go into the spiritual aspect of things, but this is kind of a little bit of what was my understanding and what's going on. And my next steps were to go to acupuncture. I started fertility acupuncture with a very nice old Chinese man who was cheering for me every month. I eliminated coffee completely. I tried to eliminate most of the sugars, although I am a sugar addict, and I must say that. It wasn't easy. I was trying to eat more healthy, of course. As I said, eliminate coffee from my diet. The only thing that I did, and I really cannot say if that's what eventually got me pregnant or not, but it is a little bit mystical to me. I was just browsing Amazon, and I stumbled onto fertility tea, and I read people's comments, and they were really good, and I was like, oh, okay, maybe I'll give it a try, because I was suspecting that my hormones are not very balanced, although I did all the checkups and they said everything is fine, but my period was still getting shorter and shorter, so I was kind of concerned that maybe I have a hormonal problem. So I ordered this fertility tea, and after 1 month of drinking it, my period stabilized a little bit. From 24 days it prolonged to 26 days, and I was like, oh, that's nice. So I took it for another month, and it continued to be 26 days, and on the third month I actually got pregnant, which was really a surprise to me. Obviously the tea wasn't the only thing I was doing, but I for some reason I have the feeling that it helped me a lot. So I can link below the one that I had, but really it's just, it might be like an urban legend, but it also can be just, you know, when you think about it and you think that it's gonna help, and you're gonna convince yourself that it's gonna help, that it just helped. It's like a placebo effect, who knows. Anyways, so as I said, I was drinking the tea, was tracking my ovulation, was doing some inner work on myself, and was checking all those ovulation sticks and all that stuff. And 3 months, surprisingly, I got pregnant. Yes, with this little monkey. So I was really surprised. I was taking, obviously, pregnancy tests all the time, and I wasn't even expecting anything to happen. While I was tracking, I had like an app tracking my basal temperature. You always have the, you know, when your ovulation days, like the temperature goes up, and then right before your period starts, it's like goes down very drastically. So this month, on the month that I got pregnant, I also was tracking, and then I got into the peak point and it dropped down. And this is the only time that I said, like, okay, there's no reason for me to keep tracking it. I mean, I see it dropping down, so I'm gonna get my period in a few days anyways. But then I realized that there is like a thing that's called like a fertility, like a pregnancy dip or something like that. No, not implantation dip, which I didn't know. It said that it doesn't happen to all women. So it was very strange when it happened to me, and I thought it's not that, it's just, you know, it's another unsuccessful month and I'm gonna get my period very, very soon. So it was really funny, because this is the only month that for the past 6 months, that I decided not to keep tracking, because if I was tracking, so it would have gone up again in a day or two. Anyway, so I stopped tracking, on that month, and I was expecting my period to come like in a 3 to 4 days, but this time like nothing happened, and I was like, oh, that's weird, because today is the app tells you when you're supposed to get your period, and I didn't get it. But then I got like some spotting, which also can happen when you have the implantation period. So I got some little spottings, and every time I said like, oh, so my period gonna come, because I see some spotting and it's probably gonna come. But it continued to be like very mild spotting. The period didn't come, but I still couldn't even imagine that I got pregnant, because I saw this dip, and because I have some cramping and I see some spotting. And I went to the dentist, and the dentist, they asked me over there like for a general checkup, and they asked me, do you think you're pregnant? Are you pregnant? And I'm like, no. Do I think I'm pregnant? Also no. But inside, somehow I thought like, what if I'm pregnant? But outside, I say like, no. But I mentioned like, we do try, we are in a process, but I'm not pregnant. So they went ahead and just did 50 x-rays on me. And all this time, I'm sitting and I'm like, what if I am pregnant? But I don't say anything, and they just keep doing all those x-rays on me. And I come home, and it's kind of in my mind all the time. I'm like, what? Like, I just did 50 x-rays. And what if I'm pregnant? Anyways, so I said, okay, the day after, I still didn't get my period. And it was like, I think like 4 days post my date, and I decided to take a pregnancy test. I said, well, it's time to check, because who knows, things can happen. I take a pregnancy test, and I see a very faint line, and I'm like, is that real? And I'm trying to Google, like not before the Google, I look at the paper that comes with the test. She also has something to say. So I look at the paper, and it says like, even a faint line means that you are pregnant. It's just probably the hormone levels are not high enough, concentrated enough. And I was like, and I wasn't even crying or very happy. My first thought is like, I got like 50 x-rays yesterday, and I'm pregnant. So my husband was in the room, was getting ready and stuff, and I come with the test, and I'm like, I think I'm pregnant. And he's like, looks at me, what? Like, yes. And I did like 50 x-rays yesterday. What am I supposed to do now? And I literally got afraid. I got like obsessed with it. And I'm like, oh my God, then I just sabotaged my pregnancy. And he's like, you're pregnant. Like, do you even realize that it's happening? And I'm like, yes. But now I kind of ruined everything. I got so many x-rays. But that's fine. I just Googled the x-ray thing, and it says like it's such minor radiation that everything gonna be okay. So I calmed myself down a little bit, and from there I took pregnancy test every day, just as you see on the picture. So every day, just to make sure I'm not dreaming, that actually happened. And on the month that I wasn't tracking my basal temperature properly, on the month that I went and did x-rays all over my face. So yeah, that was a surprise, a huge surprise, because I at some points of this journey I thought like, I don't know if that's gonna happen. I was, by the way, 38 back then, already, well, 37 and something, but almost 38 years old. And you read the statistics, and you read the what the doctor says and what fertility clinics tell you, and you think like, I think maybe I missed my train, and maybe it's never gonna happen. So when it happened, I was like, it worked. After 10 years of infertility, after 10 years of telling myself stories and saying that that's okay, maybe I don't even want children, and that's okay even if you're gonna be just us. And I don't know, I had so many excuses, so many stories, and until I actually realized that I'm sabotaging myself and I'm telling my own body that it doesn't matter, I don't really care. So why would my body cares? Why would it has other things and other worries, I don't know, like that he has to fix in me. So why would it allocate any energy or any resources for conceiving if I'm myself not even sure that I want to conceive? So it made me realize a lot of stuff. With that being said, my pregnancy wasn't the easiest. My pregnancy was pretty rocky, bumpy, and roller coaster, you can call it, just name it. If I will do a video about that, will tell you about my pregnancy, and then also about my birth, which was also a roller coaster. This baby, she's a preemie, she was born early. We have a very interesting story about that, how it happened, and what we ended up doing, and what's our journey. I will be really happy to share it with you. I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you liked it, I would really appreciate if you hit the like button or even subscribe if you want to hear our pregnancy, delivery, NICU story. I have plenty of stuff to share. So I will end the vlog over here. Me and Ariel were very happy to have you, and I'll see you next time.